Hey guys, wanted to jump on and do some updating on some stuff that's going on. I know that I have not been on the last week. I apologize for that. My cohort in crime, Colin's getting ready to move across country, or actually, as you watch this, he already is moving across country, back home to his home in Boston, in the Boston area. So hopefully, Colin's being safe traveling, and we'll get him back on soon, and we'll finish talking rookies. But I wanted to bring you just kind of some quick information on some mock drafts that I've been doing here recently, specifically Superflex related and some of those. But first, make sure you go check out rotoheat.com to stay up to date with all of our fantasy content. We got some great stuff coming up on the site as we're getting ready to go live. We're gonna be covering NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL. I mean, anything you can think of. We got golf. We got all sorts of different content. Make sure you check out the other guys' podcasts. We got the Dynasty Blockheads out there. Kevin's doing a great job with that. Then we got Sully and his 2 cents, which is an amazing podcast as well. We got some other content that's coming up, not just video stuff from me, but we'll do some podcast stuff too. We'll also do, I got lots of articles that I've been trying to pump up to the site so we can get rolling and ready to go. So make sure you're sticking it there. Check our Discord channel, check our Facebook group, be a part of all that. There's a lot of great people and having good conversations. The whole idea with Roto Heat is a great community of amazing fantasy owners helping each other out to be successful. So I want to talk about some mock drafts that I've been doing. I've got a screenshot of one particularly that just ended here just recently, and as you're watching this, or if you watch it in the future, this is pre-draft, so we are 1 week away from the draft, which is exciting stuff. But I wanted to just kind of talk through the results, and it's interesting because I've been seeing this kind of odd turn of events. This is actually a startup. We got 12 teams startup, Superflex. So it's interesting to see how things are going. Now on the screen here, you're seeing the top 10 rounds. The interesting thing for me here is that you don't see, and I'm not expecting a ton of rookies to pop up in especially in a startup of all things. But you're seeing at the back half, you're seeing, guys like David Montgomery, Damian Harris. You're seeing people start to take chances on some of these guys that are really kind of surprising to me, especially because we don't know where they're going. You'll see in round 7, Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders are the top 2 running backs going, but you don't see a lot when it comes to quarterbacks. Kyler Murray. Everybody seems to be clearly higher on him than Haskins and Locke, which is surprising to me. I mean, if you talk to, or if you've watched Colin and my conversations, we're both kind of in a different place on that. You'll see DK Metcalf in this list as a 6th round startup pick. I mean, stuff that's like, wow, it doesn't even register with me why some of these guys are going as early as they are, especially pre-draft. The talent's there, but especially in some of these cases as like the wide receivers, when you watched Colin and I talk about it, we were in a very different place on that. So it's interesting to me to see kind of how the communities are looking. Now this is kind of set up. These are a lot of different owners that I've never been in leagues with. So I've been trying to do a lot of mock drafts with people that I'm not really all that familiar with. So this is 12 different people from leagues that I've not been in that were just kind of connected through other people. So these are a lot of differing opinions and differing ideas. But to watch the chat as some of these picks are coming in, it was really surprising. I mean, even guys that aren't rookies, say Philip Lindsay in the 7th round, with the change in culture there in Denver and a new head coach and Lindsay being hurt, him going in the 7th round was really a surprise to me. I really expect him maybe slip a little bit further down, maybe even closer to the 10th round. But in my mind, a lot of these things are pretty straightforward. Saquon number 1 does not surprise me. Patrick Holmes is the number 2, kind of surprised me. And all the Superflex mocks I had done prior to this in the last few months, I really hadn't seen a quarterback go in the 1st round, even though in Superflex it's not surprising. But the interesting thing that was surprising is that Baker Mayfield's jumped ahead of guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. Mayfield has done well last year with Kitchens, but in my mind, he's still got some proving to do. How can he handle all of those personalities? How can he grow in year 2? It's really interesting to see how how the community has really started up. This Baker bandwagon's really blowing up. So just some things to be mindful of in the first few rounds of your draft. Unless you're in love with a guy and you know that he's going to hit, I don't know that I would jump on guys early. I'm not saying Baker isn't going to be a talented guy and isn't going to be a really great asset, especially in Superflex. I'm just saying, be smart about your early round picks, especially in a startup. You can't afford to really shoot the pooch on some of these things, especially early picks. So some other things that I found interesting is the love for Darius Geis is still there, which is great because I think Geis is, once he's going to bounce back from his injury, he really will excel there in Washington. He's still going in the fourth. You see him going at 4.6. You see guys like Hunter Henry's value starting to uptick. He's back up into the 6th round. In this one specifically, I've seen him going kind of 6-7 in most of the ones I've done in the last month, especially now that you're hearing that he's basically back to full health and really doing well. You're seeing guys, like N'Keal Harry going up in the 6th round. Cortland Sutton, I think, is an ascending talent, and I think that seeing him go at the beginning of the 6th is not surprising in this case. So really interesting to see kind of the way it falls out, and you really see this draft specifically, this mock draft specifically, I saw, you're seeing quarterbacks kind of go in groups, and you can kind of see the clear divide. The first probably 3 rounds are your upper echelon. 4 to 7 is kind of that next tier of, we think they're going to be good, we're not quite sure, and then round 8 on is quality starters. From 11 on is where you really start to see some interesting things. So 11 is where we see Dwayne Haskins go. We see Hawkinson's go. You're starting to see some of those guys that people are interested in, but not really quite sure on. The thing that really surprised me is that, especially in this one, this is the second time in a row I've seen somebody take Will Grier ahead of Drew Lock. I'm telling you guys, I think Drew Lock is probably the top quarterback in this draft. I mean, Kyler Murray is probably going to go number 1 in most cases, but Drew Lock is really interesting. Him and Daniel Jones are really going to be interesting plays as we go further into the draft and as we start to get into the preseason. I think you're going to see him move up. They're going to see both of them move up your boards, especially in the Superflex realm. A name that I was really interested to see on here was Ryan Finley. He's kind of a bigger body. I'm not going to say Phillip Rivers type, but similar skill sets. Real big fella, pocket passer, big arm. Can he speed up his progression? Can he start to see things a little differently and speed up how he decides and delivers? I think he could really take a step forward, especially in the Superflex world. In 1 QB, he's probably a taxi squad guy, if anything. Another interesting thing is seeing a guy like Deshaun Jackson fall. In this one specifically, he's in 17, but I've not seen him go. I think the highest I've seen him go is like round 13 in a couple of mocks I've done here recently, especially startup-focused mocks. So it's really interesting to see kind of the turn of events for players like him. The other thing is the consensus all over the place about KC's running backs. And this one you see Carlos Hyde go later. I've seen Carlos Hyde go earlier. I've seen Damian Williams go later. The jury seems to be out. The community's kind of all over the place on him. I'm not really interested in either at this point because I don't trust either. They may look great, but as soon as KC drafts a running back, and they're going to grab somebody in the draft, that running back immediately gets all the hype because now he's the hot rookie coming into KC and in a place that really needs that running back to fill in the Kareem Hunt role. So it's interesting to kind of see how this mock laid out. I see a lot of similarities where guys are really interested in the rookie running back class to take chances on. The thing I'll be interested to see is how some of last year's rookies, like Ronald Jones. I know this community is real split down the middle on him. Some love, some hate. We're starting to hear talk out of Tampa Bay that he's really impressing, and Bruce Arians is a guy that can take running backs and turn them into something. I mean, nobody really knew much about David Johnson, and then all of a sudden Bruce Arians took him, kind of middle of the draft when he came out, and he is, outside of injury, has been a fantasy stud. Can he do the same type of thing with a guy like Ronald Jones, who doesn't necessarily have the similar skill set? I mean, we think he can develop his pass catching acumen. We think he can take more than just a speed game, but we'll see where that goes. I just wanted to post some of this and do a real quick blurb about some of the mock drafts I've been seeing. This is starting to become a little more normal. This is the second mock draft in a row that I'm seeing the same types of guys going early, going later. The chances people are taking on rookies is starting to grow. Especially in the running back world, you're seeing a lot of guys start to take chances and stick guys at the back half of their, especially in the startups, back half of their drafts to take a chance on them, because I do think some of these rookies will get drafted into a spot where they can be successful. Your David Montgomerys. I mean, obviously Josh Jacobs is kind of the cream of the crop in this draft when it comes to running back, but Montgomery, Darrell Henderson, you're seeing some of these guys that I think will get an opportunity, and they may not be long-term starters, and we know the 2020 class is touted to be deep. I don't know that I can say for certain. There's definitely a lot of intriguing names, but you never know who sticks around, who comes out. I reserve judgment on that. I know we'll be doing some podcasting about next year's rookie class coming up here soon. I've been talking with guys about doing some podcasts, so we'll be doing some content for that. So just want to do a real quick, 10-minute video talking about some of the results I've been seeing. I hope you guys are doing well. We'll get back to the normal Thursday sessions here soon. So if you have questions, continue to put them out there on the Discord, on the Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at RotoHeatBrad. I've been commenting, sharing, posting, trying to get content out there for you guys. If you ever need anything, you know where to find us. You guys take care, and we'll see you.